I ran out of money and I didn't have any food. And I asked a friend for £1, and the friend turned around and said, "What do you need £1 for?" And I didn't have any more courage to go and ask for money. I spent that week 5 days without having any food.
It is hard living in the street in the winter time. It is too much cold. I live in the park for 2 days.
After a couple of refusations from the Home Office, I get homeless from the Home Office.
I was just having some water, warm water with sugar, and I'll go back to sleep.
I was rejected by Home Office, and then they stopped my support, my house accommodation, and I wasn't allowed to work as well.
Because I didn't have my visa, they declined my student finance application, and then they declined my appeal.
A friend gave me his jacket and let me stay in his home. It is not good for him because he has home office house. I hide in there.
I was so afraid to tell other people about what I'm going through because I thought they'll be judging me. So I kept myself in isolation, not telling anybody.
When I did interview, I did court, they refused me. They said, "We don't believe you. We don't believe you can't go to your country. You stay there. You can live there." But actually, that's not true. I can't stay there. If I stay there, if I can't stay there, why I live there?
There's one day particular I was late, like 5 minutes late to sign. I was told to go back home and they'll decide what they can do. So what they can do, if they do that, actually they stop your support. So you don't have any support.
I have to walk to the shops to get my shopping because Section 4 is based on a voucher system. So they don't give us cash to go shopping.
Which is very hard, really hard. I have to get that card before you can't even, they give strictly where you can buy food. Most of the food I don't eat them.
I have to walk more than 2.5 miles to get to Asda. On my way back, I have to walk up the hill again, and such experience has made me feel very low.
I did what I went and asked people, "Please, can you change for me a voucher?" I first greet them with a smiling face because no matter what you in a hard situation, you have to pretend. After they see your card, they refuse.
Each time I have to go shopping, I have this anxiety which builds in me. Sometimes I get headaches, sometimes my blood pressure goes up.
My interview, I was told to sign a form, and the officer who was interviewing me told me that I was going to be tagged. The one thing that came to me is what did I do wrong?
And after that, I brought some proof for my case, for some documents. That's my life. I can't stay there anymore. That's dangerous to me. If I go back, it's going to be killed. I'm going to be killed. And they say that that's not true.
They put a tag on me. I stayed with the tag for two years. I didn't know what I did wrong. I felt so depressed. I felt so ashamed. And those days I used to have, the tag was on my ankle, so I used to have a huge bandage on my leg. So everybody used to ask me, "What happened to you?" I would just tell you I had an operation, and the operation went also wrong.
It's really bad. It's like, you live in an open prison. So there's no freedom, there's nothing, but you still have to go and sign in.
I simply gave up doing any more submissions because I just felt that it was pointless to go on trying to convince the immigration officials that I needed protection because they didn't seem to believe me at all.
My sister still remembers the addresses of all the places that we've lived or had temporary accommodation. There's roughly 12 places.
And when we got to Birmingham, we got to a yard which had like a building which looked dilapidated with
And the driver said, "We've arrived." And I thought, is this where, I asked him, "Is this where you are dropping us?" He said, "Yes."
I remember having to lie to my friends when they asked me, "Why have you moved around so much? Why don't you live at that same place?" And I used to lie and tell them, my mum's just trying to find somewhere to settle, and, she's just being very picky about it.
One day I was in my college and came back to my house. I couldn't open my door because my manager house, he changed my door lock, and I couldn't unlock it. I called him. He said, "You have to leave your house. You can't stay there anymore because you got refused."
Homeless people have been sleeping there. The walls looked like there was some kind of violent activities going on there. Holes on the walls, some blood stains on the walls.
One day in 2017, one of the coldest days, I was so cold and had nowhere to go sleep. I ended up going to the library and found a corner where I sat. I was so cold, my feet were cold.
I live with different friends. One friend 1 week, another friend another week.
I found a friend who wanted to take me in, but they were scared because the Home Office want you to register lodgers or anyone living with you, so they said they were scared to do that.
The housing officer told me, G4S housing officer told me, "What is wrong with this place?" I asked him, "Can you stay here with your family?" He said yes.
My application for asylum was turned down. I was kicked out of my asylum accommodation and became destitute and homeless, and I slept rough for 3 days.
Very tall man came, and as soon as he walked in on the landing, he stood right in front of me, like just a few inches away, to say, "So, are you the one refusing accommodation? What do you expect?" So I looked at him because I was thinking, this is the man now, at least to look at the things differently. I just looked at him and I broke down. I started crying. He turned out and started inspecting the place. And he turned out to the G4S man and said, "But why did you bring this woman and a child here when you know this property is not ready?" So the man apologized to him and apologized to me. Then I was put in a hotel for a couple of days. They painted the place. They did the floors. They did the cupboards, although they didn't do it fully, but at least it was somewhere I could now sleep and feel a bit safe.
One day I got on a bus and sat next to this lady, and she stood up and started shouting, "You foreigners, we don't want you here. You're taking everything away from us."
So one thing I've realized is most of the people who live there, the community know that us from that yard are asylum seekers. So there's that animosity where you say good morning to a neighbor, sometimes they don't answer you.
I'm a highly skilled person, well qualified. I can work and contribute to the economy, but I feel distressed because as an asylum seeker, I'm not allowed to work.
There's a lack of knowledge from the public, especially the UK citizen people. Some of them, they don't understand what is asylum means and refugee. They think we are coming in this country to take their jobs, wives, or everything. No, we don't.
People understand refugees or, certain people from Syria or, just kind of Middle Eastern European places who come here, but I don't think they would really understand my situation.
We are separate from others, but they like us better than we are used to stay. The community is very nice.
It's also forced me recently to be honest with myself and be honest with myself and about myself and with the people in my lives and just tell them. And the response has been really good recently. I've just been so grateful for the friends that I have, and they've always said, you know, why haven't you told us sooner? And I laugh and I say, I mean, you don't even know, like, I've just been so afraid, but now I'm finding my raw and telling people.